Hello, magandang gabi.
Gandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi.
Magandang gabi po.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Kumusta ang buhay-buhay natin?
Ayos lang po. Kayo po, kumusta?
Okay lang, kadarating-dating ko kasi pumasok ako eh.
Okay.
Kumusta na ang buhay-buhay ng lahat? Ika nga, ayusin ko yung... So, si Emil, si Tony, at saka si Shay. Hi, love.
Good evening po.
Good evening, love. Kumusta na?
Okay naman po.
Okay lang. At si Jenny.
Evening po.
Hi. Good evening kayong lahat.
Good evening din po.
Si Tony. Hi, Tony.
Hello po.
Ready ba tayo for today's lesson?
Ready na po.
Always ready, di ba? Parang Boy Scout, Girl Scout. Laging handa.
Yes.
Si Ma'am Yong pala nandito. Hello, Ma'am Yong.
Nasa duty daw po si Ma'am Yung.
Naka-duty pa siya. Kaya pala. Ako, kadating-dating ko nga lang din eh. Nakalimutan ko na na meron pala ako ngayong alas 8.
Yung slides po nung nakaraan na at na anatomy tsaka physiology, wala pa na.
Hindi na ibigay ni Ma'am Yong?
Wala pa po.
Aha, okay.
I-share daw ngayon.
Pati yung medical terminologies, di ba, isinend sa inyo? Yung medical terminologies plus yung reference na table of medical terminologies.
Opo.
O yung mga abbreviation
Okay na po yan.
po?
Okay
Abbreviation.
na po yun.
Aha, nakuha po namin.
Yung anatomy lang.
Yung anatomy, oo. Isi-send niya sa inyo kasi naka-send out na yun eh. Si Maricar. Hi, Maricar. Di ba last time parang marami tayong Jenny? Jennifer, Jenny.
Dalawa lang po ay.
Dalawa lang ba yun?
Jennifer.
Okay. Si Jenny at si Jennifer.
Opo.
Aha, okay. So, pwede na tayong mag-start? Tayo lang ba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are 8. We are supposed to be, ilan tayo ngayon?
8 or
8 tayo for today. Okay, so sige. Mag-start na tayo para hindi tayo gagabihin. So on time. So good evening everyone. Andito tayong uli. Andito tayong muli for our third week, right? So
Yes
third
po.
week tayo. So infection control ang topic natin ng lesson.
Infection control.
Infection control. Okay. I-send out sa inyo tong infection control?
Hindi rin po.
Wala po.
Hindi rin po namin na-review.
Okay. So anyway, mag-start tayo. Just let me check muna sandali lang ha. I-ano ko tong slide natin. Hello. Sa labas.
Your class now?
Now only. Just get started.
Masira yung habang naglalakad mo. Fake lang naman kasi itong crops.
Oo. Okay, so andito na tayo. Nakikita nyo yung slide natin?
Opo.
Opo.
Okay. So we'll start. Ito yung ating lesson for today about infection control. So infection control, itong mga objectives natin. We start with definition of infection and infection control. Importance of infection control and prevention. Role and responsibility of infection control nurse and the healthcare providers. How does infection spread? The chain of infection. Breaking the chain of infection. Standards, precautions in control of infection and prevention. And we'll touch, kahit konti about the COVID-19, the information and preventive measures. Alam naman natin updated tayo, I hope. Updated ang lahat dito sa COVID na ito. Okay, going forward, we'll just define what is infection control. Infection is the invasion of pathogens inside of one's body. Okay, so there is an invasion. Kaya tayo nagkaka-infection is there is an invasion. Yung pumasok sa atin yung pathogens ang tawag doon. So they cause infection sa katawan. Pathogen is the one that causes that, the infection. And infection control, it is the disciplined approach in preventing healthcare-associated infections. Yung infection control, ibig sabihin niya, ito yung approach na ginagawa to prevent yung healthcare-associated infection. Actually, doon sa isang healthcare, yung isang medical center o isang ospital, yung mga nag-i-stay ng mga pasyente for a little longer, nakaka-acquire sila mostly nung mga infection na mismo galing na sa loob ng ospital. Okay, so yun yung mga healthcare associated infection. Actually, ang tawag doon nosocomial infection. We will be touching that later on. So yung infection control is the approach, discipline approach in preventing healthcare associated infections. So what are the importance of infection control in healthcare facility? Ano ba ang importansya nito? Bakit kailangan natin ito? Ano ang importance niya? Number one is, infection control in a healthcare facility is the prevention of pathogenic or the microorganisms being passed from one person to another. So yung one person to another, it goes between patient to patient, patient to staff member to patient, and staff member to the same staff member. So ito yan being passed, nagkakaroon tayo ng cross-contamination sa loob ng ating workplaces within the healthcare. The foundation of good infection control is to assume that everyone is potentially infectious. Tatandaan ninyo, pag nasa isang workplace kayo, like in a healthcare facility, dapat ang tingin natin sa lahat ng tao doon, infectious sila. Nang para that time, magiging preventive tayo parate. We want to protect ourselves, you want to protect your patients. So kailangan meron tayong thinking na lahat ng taong nakikita nyo within the healthcare, potential silang infectious. Meron silang kakayahang magbigay ng infection o mag-transfer ng infection towards each other. Okay, kaya kailangan thinking nyo na parating infectious yung mga taong kasama nyo. Para that time, magkaroon kayo ng talagang ma-establish within you na talagang you have to protect to prevent yourself. So potentially infectious, you just consider people around you. So infection control and prevention practices are important in maintaining a safe environment for everyone by reducing the risk of the potential spread of disease. So kailangan talaga, bakit tayo may infection control and prevention na isang committee sa isang healthcare facility consisting iyon ng doktor, infection control doctor, infection control nurse, tapos yung mga healthcare providers. So they are the one responsible doon sa infection control and prevention within a healthcare facility. We want to define the roles and responsibility of the infection control nurse and also the responsibility of the healthcare providers. Yung infection control is everyone's responsibility. But then there is one person who is really overseeing, overlooking doon sa infection control. Siya yung infection control nurse. Usually, the infection control nurse is a registered nurse with some certificates with the infection itself. Infection control certificates, okay? So number one, the role and responsibility goes with overseeing. The ICN oversight overall infection control and prevention related activities in the organization. It promotes the vision, the mission, and the values of the organization. Dala niya yung mga mission, vision, and values. Though, the infection control itself, meron siyang mission, values, and vision. So, although meron yung isang facility, meron din yung infection control. Meron din siyang susundin na kailangan niyang mission, ano ang vision niya, ano ang magiging value within the organization. Number 3 is required to establish standard methods of care utilizing evidence-based practice and best practice standards. So, yung ICN always she sees to it na meron siyang established standard methods of care. Hindi lang siya basta nagtatrabaho. So, meron siyang sinusunod na standard. Utilizing evidence-based practice. So, kailangan natin na yung ginagawa natin is always with the evidence-based. Okay? And best practice standards. Required to establish and implement infection control and employee health orientation programs throughout the facility. So during orientation ng isang newly joined staff, so it's the responsibility of the infection control nurse to provide orientation and training regarding the infection control. Okay, so ito is one of yung kanyang important responsibility so that everyone will follow yung evidence-based at saka best practice of infection control. 6 is to ensure compliance with local. Local means itong ating DOH. Ito yung authority natin dito sa Abu Dhabi. We have different authorities within UAE. Dito sa UAE, meron tayong in Abu Dhabi alone is Department of Health. Ito yung previous health authority, yung HAAD. Okay, so it's changed to Department of Health now. So secondly, ang local authority in Dubai is DHA, Dubai Health Authority. And doon sa federal government of Abu Dhabi, of the UAE, meron tayong Ministry of Health. So itong tatlo na to ang ating local na health authorities. But then, the only one that we follow, because we are here in Abu Dhabi, so we follow the authority under Department of Health. DOH tayo. Okay? Yung ating DOH. Since yung DHA, though, we have a unified license, unified means, meron siyang characteristic yung mga license natin na pwede mo siyang i-convert, but you have to choose only once. If you want to stay, work with Abu Dhabi, your license will be provided as in DOH license. But if you will go in Dubai, it will be converted to DHA. And to the rest of the federal, it will be MOH. Okay? So hindi ka pwedeng magtrabaho sa iba-ibang lugar na iisa lang yung license mo in different place. The roles and responsibility also includes the policies, development of policies and procedures within the organization related to infection control and employees' health. So siya rin yung gumagawa ng standards ng DOH for the infection control. Ensures compliance with the local, ito yung pinag-usapan natin, and international requirements and accreditation bodies. So lahat ng ginagawa natin dito sa DOH, meron tayong above dun sa DOH, meron tayong mga accreditation body. Yung standard nila ina-adapt natin. JCI, yung Joint Commission International, that is from American standard. Meron tayong ISO, meron tayong CDC as per infection control, yung Council of Communicable Diseases. Okay? And the DOH policies and clinical responsibilities. 7, she participates or he participates as an integral team member, collaborating with various departments and colleagues, including quality officer, safety officer, HR, and others as needed to advocate for employee health and safety. So meron din siyang integral team, nakikipag-coordinate, collaborate siya doon sa mga officers na ito, na para to make out yung kanyang participation doon ay maging universal to everyone, yung standard. coordinates with the quality officer in the development and implementation of all employees' health initiatives and IC programs. So every year, meron kaming dinidevelop na mga program related to infection control. So ito, by month, every month, ini-implement namin isa-isa. So by the end of the year, meron kaming evaluation. Tinitignan namin kung ano ba yung improvement na ginawa within the infection control. Develops alongside quality officer infection control policies and procedures for pre-employment and onboarding processes for employees. So lahat ng ito with coordination, in coordination with the quality officer. He or she also is responsible for all pre-employment testing and vaccination processes. Yung healthcare workers, the healthcare providers, kailangan dito merong annual na hepatitis testing and vaccination kung iyong antigen antibody is lesser dun sa required na 10 or 11, so lesser than that, binibigyan tayo ng immunization. Merong vaccine ng hepatitis. Responsible for coordinating the infection control program with the quality officer, which includes surveillance, analysis of data, developing reports, policies, and procedures. So lahat ito, responsibilidad niya doon sa may mga surveillance. May surveillance tayong monitoring surveillance, standard yan, binibigay ng health authority under the influence ng JCI and CDC. So itong mga surveillance nito may mga reporting. It is mandatory reporting. Ina-analyze yung data, nagdi-develop ng reports, and thus with the policies and procedures. Notification and reporting to authority for communicable diseases. Nakikipag-coordinate ang infection control nurse. Ito responsibility niya to. If like for example, this months, meron tayong COVID pandemic, okay? So anybody na nagpapatest ng PCR test, yung nasal swabbing na tinatawag, so they are the one responsible pagka yung laboratory nag-provide na ng mga test results and you have the positive results doon sa employees within the facility, so sila yung responsible to notify health authority regarding this. So yung preventive medicine, ang coordination nila together with the DOH in reporting. Anyway, yung lab itself, as per the mandatory circular ng DOH, lab itself are the one reporting to the people themselves, yung mga positive. Okay? So it coordinates also with the Infection Prevention and Control Committee to determine the direction of surveillance activities and actively evaluate effectiveness of the infection prevention and control plan annually. As I said, yung mga programs, yung mga plans within the infection control, yung surveillance, monitoring, collection of data, and everything, ito ay ini-evaluate every year. So meron kaming infection control committee. Okay? So from the doctor itself, kasama yung medical director, infection control nurse, the quality officer, the facility safety officer, kasama ito na nag-i-evaluate ng surveillance and reports. 15, it works hand in hand with quality officer in developing and implementing to continuously improve patient care procedures and control mechanisms relating to quality, compliance, and infectious diseases. Every month, as I said, merong reporting, okay? Yung reporting na yon ay hand in hand with the quality officer. Nagpapadala kami ng report kung ano yung mga dapat i-report from our center. Like for example, meron tayong mga communicable disease, yung infectious disease, o meron kaya tayong mga sharps, yung mga sharps na incidences, yung mga natutusok na mga needles, yun. Sa mga blood, yung pagbibigay ng blood transfusion na nagkamali ng blood transfusion, it's a part of the infection control and the quality officer as well. She or he participates in infection prevention and control education of all employees during orientation and annually thereafter, including training in infection prevention and control practices and employees' health. So, yung participation niya in infection prevention and control, nag-e-educate siya. Once in a while, doon sa aming medical facility, since yung responsibility ng quality officer, nakikipag-coordinate sa kanya, meron akong training every month. Meron akong calendar for the whole year. So yung mga subject every month, kung ano ang training na ipoprovide namin. So me, I will coordinate with dun sa mga head nung department kung ano ang dapat naming ibigay na training to conduct the training regarding infection control, regarding yung mga COVID something. So yon, meron kaming coordination. Number 17, ensures the infection prevention and control procedures meet local DOH and international CDC regulations, standards, or guidelines. So tatandaan nyo na meron tayong DOH, meron tayong JCI, may CDC, merong ISO. So lahat ng yon, mga international accreditation standards nila ay binibigay sa DOH. So we are connected, giving us yung mga standards, international standards. In coordination with quality officer, I see and organize infection prevention and control committee meetings, maintain all meeting minutes and reporting. So every month, meron kaming dun sa infection control committee, meron kaming meeting parate. So dinidiscuss namin about yung mga notifications, ilan yung mga nag-COVID positive, ano yung mga ginawa dun sa COVID, yung mga reporting na ganon. So nagko-coordinate kami to each one regarding infection control kung ano na yung improvement o yung na-implement namin. Okay. The roles and responsibility of the healthcare providers naman. Ano naman ang roles noong as we, the healthcare providers? Meron tayong ICN, okay, yung infection control nurse. So what about us, yung mga employees, healthcare providers? What is our responsibility? So number one is to be strictly compliant of the healthcare providers into the implementation of infection control policies. So kailangan yung mga staff, yung mga employees, meron silang strict compliance, okay? Dun sa lahat ng ini-implement ng infection control. Why? Because there are sometimes or most often, ang health authority or DOH, they are just coming randomly for audit or inspection. When we say audit, ang tinitignan nila documentations. When they come for an ocular inspection, yun yung physical facility setup, yung mga waste ninyo, yun mga tinitignan nila. Regardless doon sa kung ano yung makikita nila, that will be reported to health authority and may reporting na pinadala sa mga healthcare facility. So it depends upon them, ginigradean nila tayo kung ano ang nagagawa natin, whether substandard tayo or we are meeting the standards. Observe the infection control practices at all time. One of these, dun sa infection control practices, is hand washing. Yung mga auditors, when they come randomly or during the scheduled visit, randomly, pag nakita kanyang naka-uniform as a healthcare na ikaw ay nurse o ikaw ay, let's say, nursing assistant, so tinatawag yung pansin mo kaagad. Can you do that hand washing for me? Hand washing technique? Ganun sila kaagad. So it is our own responsibility na alamin mo kung ano yung standard na practice, ano yung hand washing guidelines mo, ano yung hand washing protocol mo. By step, alam nila yon. Okay, so with our own, yung responsibility natin, we must do it for ourselves. Reporting of any incidents related to infection control to ICN. Pag ikaw dun sa special area mo o yung patient care area mo, natusok ka ng needle, so automatic, you have to promptly, yung immediately report it to yung immediate supervisor, immediate in charge, or to the ICN itself. Okay? So naggagawa ng report like the needle stick injury, merong reporting ng needle stick injury. So ang process noon, i-report, gagawan ng merong yung report na yon, it will go within 24 hours to the quality officer to investigate. Okay? So yun na yun, may mga process. Updated immunization and vaccination. So yung infection control nurse ay responsibility niya na i-update kayo. But then it's your responsibility to know also kailan na nga ba ako nagpa-vaccination, kailan na ba ako nagpa-titer nun. So it's also our own responsibility na i-initiate kung yung baka nakalimutan na ni ICN natin na hindi pa siya nag-check uli ng kanyang mga reports notes. So by ourselves, it is a responsibility parang i-initiate mo naman from your side. Okay? So these are the main responsibility of the healthcare providers. Now we go with the chain of infection. Okay? Ang chain of infection natin, one out of the, the six of this, the six links, one gap or one breaks the gap, ay magkakaroon tayo ng mapipreventahan natin na infection. But together with these six links all together, it made up a chain of infection. So magkakaroon na tayo ng infection pag nabuo itong anim na to. So kailangan i-check natin what are the links involving in this chain of infection. Meron siyang chain of infection. And what does it mean by chain of infection? It is a process of infection that begins when an agent leaves its reservoir through portal of exit and is conveyed by mode of transmission, then enters through an appropriate portal of entry to infect a susceptible host. Nakita nyo, may flow. Okay, di-discuss more natin. We have to discuss it more. And a chain of infection is a process in which a favorable condition is required for microorganism to spread or transfer from reservoir to a susceptible host. Okay, so meron tayong chain of infection. So meron tayong links na nagko-connect as a chain para mabuo yung isang infection. Okay? So the chain of infection is made up of 6 different links. Meron siyang link doon na naka-chain. Number 1 is pathogen. Kailangan meron tayong pathogen. Yun yung infectious agent. The pathogen or the germs, yung microorganism, it causes disease. Pathogen, ha? Yung pathogen is the germ that causes the disease. So ito yung pathogen. Now, it goes to reservoir. Kailangan siyang merong a place to stay. So places in the environment where the pathogen lives. This include tayo, animals and insects, medical equipments, soil and water. Sila yung pinag-uumpisahan. Saan natin sila nakukuha? Ito yung place na namumuo yung mga infection, infected agent. The portal of exit, yun yung number 3. It is the way of infectious agent leaving the reservoir. Umalis na siya doon, okay? Through open wounds aerosols, and splatter of body fluids, including when you are coughing, you are sneezing, and through your saliva. So yun na yung portal of exit niya. Lalabas na siya palabas. So ngayon, through mode of transmission. It is a way of infectious agent can be passed on through direct contact, indirect, ingestion, or inhalation. Pwede mo siyang direct na mai-transfer, indirectly, pwede mo siyang masinghot, o pwede mo siyang malulon. So yung portal of entry is number 5, which is the way the infectious agent can enter a new host. So ito na siya. Papunta na siya doon sa kanyang host, doon sa new host, bago. Through, kung ikaw ay may broken skin, the respiratory tract, mucous membranes, and catheters and tubes. Kaya ingat tayo pag may mga open wound. Ingat tayo pag may mga tubo tayo sa katawan. Dahil doon, yun yung pinagpapasukan nila ng infection. We have the last is the susceptible host. The new host na to, meron na tayong bagong pamumugaran ng infeksyon. Doon na mag-uumpisa yung sakit natin. It can be any person, the most vulnerable of whom are receiving healthcare. Yun tayo. Tayo yung very, tayo doon, susceptible tayo. Yung mga immunocompromised, yung may mga chronic disease, yung mga matatanda, yung may mga sakit na matagal na, or have invasive medical device.